So let me introduce myself for those who don't know me. I recognize some familiar faces, but perhaps we have newcomers in the webinar. I'm Élise Watrelot. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Atlantic Arc Commission. So the Atlantic Arc Commission is a network of regions. There are 15 regional authorities gathered from Ireland, the UK, France, Spain, Portugal, and Canada. Quebec is also a member of our association. And we are a group of interests and a forum for regions that have the same common objective, that is to join efforts for the sustainable development of the Atlantic Arc. And as you can see, we have EU regions mainly, but also non-EU regions as part of our membership. So we have been leading the Transatlantic Pilot Project, within which this webinar is organized. You might have attended the former webinars, so we led a series of webinars, and we hope also to continue this for the next year. That will be the case. The idea of today's webinar is really to give you an insight on the funding tools that can be used for transatlantic cooperation. So as an architecture for this webinar, we decided to have first a feedback and an update on the recent activities we led within the pilot project, and specifically a big action that we finalized. That was the study visit to the Quebec province with a delegation of 25 representative of clusters, universities, and regional authorities from the EU Atlantic area. And then we will deep dive into the different funding program that can be used for win-win cooperation at transatlantic level, so that we can materialize, let's say, the lessons learned when we were in Quebec for this study visit. So I'm very happy to welcome today keynote speakers from DG Mare, CINEA, the Interreg Atlantic Area Program, Erasmus, and also Quebec Investment for the counterpart, let's say, in a non-EU region. And the final word will be given to the Welsh government because you will have a glimpse also of our future activities and how you can benefit from the activity of our pilot project and its next activities. As a quick reminder for those who don't know that, but the pilot project is supported by the European Parliament and also managed together with the European Commission. It's a 2-year project, and the idea is to really experiment, test a possible scheme for transatlantic cooperation. Of course, beyond this 2-year project, we deeply think in our association and also together with our partner, Forum Oceano and CEIMAR, that there is a lot of potential for more structured cooperation at transatlantic level involving EU and non-EU Atlantic regions, because the Atlantic Ocean is our common good and is the basis for also the coastal communities development. And by the way, yesterday we had another meeting of the advisory board. It's our committee of the wise for the pilot project, and we were able to speak with different levels of governance, the state level, the regional level, but also the main stakeholders, so clusters, universities, and ports of the Atlantic, on how to bring the project, how to capitalize the activities of the project in a more longer term. So I'm very glad today to welcome you, because we will be pragmatic and we will concentrate on concrete actions and concrete projects we can put in place in the short term, thanks to the use of the different programs. So we will assess those funding tools. So it's a really good balance between, long-term thinking and also pragmatic and practical activities, so that we will have today. So without further ado, I'm very happy to pass the floor to my colleague Wim Stube, that will ensure the moderation for this webinar and guide you through the different intervention of our dear speaker. And many thanks to all of you for connecting today. Wim, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Elise. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I see that people are jumping in and out, so welcome to everybody. the meeting is built upon, let's say, 3 sections. First, we'll make a kind of a short overview of what has happened in Quebec during the mission. Appreciation from the participants. A second part will definitely be focusing on the tools which are there to support the transatlantic cooperation. And the last part is the next step within the transatlantic pilot, which will be the mission to the region of Wales. So it's a balanced session this afternoon. And I would like to invite or Mrs. Geneviève Dessy or Mrs. Jimenez to come in. I don't know if you have an agreement who is going to speak. So please, Province of Quebec, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm just going to be brief because maybe you can hear it in my voice. I'm completely sick, filled with viruses of winter here. So my name is Geneviève Dessy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a strategic advisor for the Department of Transport and Sustainable Mobility at the Quebec government. And the Team Quebec was very honored to organize the first mission of this transatlantic project. And we were able to organize this 5-day mission through almost the entire province. Those of you who were there, you had needed to spend a bit of time on a bus to reach Montreal, Quebec City, and Rimouski, knowing the distances in our part are great, but also realizing that the province of Quebec, the vast majority of the population lives along this incredible body of water that is the St. Lawrence River and Gulf. And this is why for us, the blue economy, the sustainable maritime transport questions, all of this is really important in our development. And we think we are part of a navigable system that goes beyond our borders. And this is why we think that it is essential, crucial to develop cooperation with people at both ends of our river. So on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean and also around the Great Lakes. So we were very happy to organize this meeting this mission that wanted to promote the Quebec expertise, but also to learn about the different organizations of blue economy within the Arc Atlantic Commission. So you will see, and Viridiana will go more into detail about what we organized, but it was a first meeting. We wanted to put the first foundation of this cooperation, and the idea was to get to know each other. So this is what we tried to achieve. Of course, it seemed intense and packed, having people from Quebec present their organizations and people from the delegations that also presented their organization. But I think it was well worth it because now we were able to see that often we work on similar issues. Often we have similar strengths, but that can be also complementary. So we have what it takes, if I can say, to continue building up on strong cooperation. So thank you very much. I'm gonna go back to drinking water, and I'm gonna let my colleague Viridiana from Réseau Québec Maritime. Viridiana and Réseau Québec Maritime were in charge of organizing the delegation along with Technopole Maritime du Québec and SODES and other partners from the different sectors of blue economy. So Viridiana will be able to tell you a little bit more about the details of the mission. Viridiana?
Thank you, Geneviève, and thank you for starting to speak, even though you're you're battling your own viruses. We all know how ferocious they can be this time of year. So, did cover a good introduction to the mission. So I'm Viridiana Jimenez. I'm a communications advisor for Réseau Québec Maritime, which is so it's a research-based network throughout the province of Quebec. And the reason why we paired up with Technopole Maritime du Québec is that Technopole Maritime du Québec tends to focus more on industry. So we were a good match to try and bring together as many stakeholders as possible, and a great variety of stakeholders from the province of Quebec to meet with an equally varied group of stakeholders from Europe. And so, like Geneviève mentioned, the main objectives were to introduce members of the Arc Atlantic Commission to Quebec's marine and maritime ecosystem. So we wanted to make sure there was a variety of people from the research sector, industrial sector, ports, government, so both governmental and paragovernmental, to kind of give a bit of a governmental context as well, and really to start developing and structure links, so cooperation, really ties between different stakeholders, particularly with a view to the blue economy, but also just generally green infrastructure and innovation. So there was also a lot of, apart from presentations from both sides of the Atlantic, it was important also as part of the Transatlantic Project to organize a capacity building workshop so that we could actually get to work on collaborative ideation of how that would look like to actually put in place genuine transatlantic cooperation. So there was we'll get into it a little bit later, but a focus on industry and SMEs and research and academia. So as Geneviève said, so the province of Quebec is actually quite large, and Quebec's marine and maritime territory extends even up to the far north. But yes, about 80% of the population lives along the St. Lawrence. So river, estuary, and gulf, which goes from the Great Lakes all the way to the transatlantic ocean. So we are inextricably linked to the Atlantic Ocean as well. But a lot of the organizations are based along the St. Lawrence. So as much as it would have been fun to go up north, really the focus was on the St. Lawrence. And it's, that was big enough because, so just to take you a little bit through the daily itinerary of what we achieved. We started, so everyone arrived in Montreal, then we started the first day in Quebec City, which was more of an introduction to the governmental context. So thanks to Geneviève as well, that showed what the Quebec Maritime Strategy is all about. And that was also an opportunity to introduce key stakeholders and organizations that work in the sustainable shipping and port sectors, like SODES, for example. There was also the Port of Quebec that gave it an interesting approach on innovative initiatives going on there. And it was also an opportunity for members of the delegation to present themselves, not only to the Quebec stakeholders, but even to each other, which was really interesting. And after Quebec, we then went all the way to Rimouski. And because it's far away, it was worth staying a couple of days. And it's also a very important regional hub for so the marine and maritime industry. There was an introduction to research, development, and innovation ecosystem. So there are quite a few research centers. There's the university, there's ISMER, the Institute for Ocean Science that's based here in Rimouski. And so we were able to visit local infrastructure such as labs and Innovation Maritime, which has very important but also applied research facilities. And that was an opportunity to hear presentations from research organizations, but also to hear pitches from local startups. And so that was also where we did our capacity building workshop, which was, as we said, an integral part of the Transatlantic project, in order to really start thinking about where to start between our both sides of the Atlantic how to start really collaborating. And we decided to do 2 subgroups, so research and academia and industry and SMEs, and so that they could both identify priorities for collaboration, but also we noticed that there's a lot of overlap between ways to work together, what funding could look like, and what kind of priorities or axis themes that we could focus on. After that, it was time to start heading back west. So we decided to break the journey between Rimouski and Montreal by stopping in Lévis, on the other side of the St. Lawrence, across from Quebec, and focusing on blue tourism. So there were perspectives both from the St. Lawrence and also from Portugal, which was really interesting. And then going back to Montreal. So Montreal is also a major hub, particularly for artificial intelligence. There's quite a few research centers based there and SMEs, and some that actually do a bit of both that kind of mesh artificial intelligence with the maritime sector. And so then we also heard from researchers that are currently working on AI applications to the marine and maritime sector. And we also heard from European perspectives in that respect. So very briefly, the key facts and figures here, there were over 85 people involved, both the delegation and local stakeholders, and that represents 38 organizations. And the key areas for cooperation that were identified as something to focus on to start with would be green shipping, ports and corridors, sustainable aquaculture, AI, as we said, applied to marine and maritime sectors, but also increased mobility and exchanges between academia and research, but even within the industrial sector. And as you can see, over 1,200 kilometers driven within 5 days. So it's something that we might be used to here, but maybe for Europeans was a little intense. And so overall, there was great satisfaction both on the delegation part and the Quebec stakeholders. Everyone was thrilled to have an opportunity to actually present, get to know each other, get to know who are the different stakeholders either side of the Atlantic, and actually physically get to so meet and forge these relationships, which are really, there's a lot to be said for meeting in person as opposed to just meeting over Teams, as lovely as this is. And so the challenges now, what we really identified was going to be how do we follow up on those meetings, on those discussions? How do we put in place concrete actions? And now how do we find the tools, both infrastructure and funding wise, to actually make this happen? So we are, though, convinced, all stakeholders here and organizers of the mission to Quebec, we're convinced that this the Transatlantic Project is a good starting point, and that we can make it work within at least achieve a start to transatlantic cooperation. That's it for me. Try to go as fast as possible. So I don't want to delay the other speakers anymore, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Back to you, Wim.
Thank you very much, Geneviève. Thank you very much, Viridiana, and thank you for the effort to put yourself behind the screen in difficult conditions. It's not easy. Well, did we say this? Somebody's dying somewhere. So for everybody, I can ask for those who are not speaking to close the microphone. So that's breaks the attention and the concentration of the speaker. Next one, as mentioned, within the group, there were people from the public sector, there were people from the research institution, and there were people from the SME sector and the SME clusters. So I will ask both representatives of the research institutions and the SME cluster to give us short feedback on how they have experienced and what was really the output and outcome of this mission during this 5-6 days. Can I ask Eva Mena to come in? She's the Director General of Campus de Excelencia Internacional del CEMAR in Andalusia. So Eva, I know that you're in the house, so go ahead, short, straight, and to the point, like we know you. Come in, Eva.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to share my presentation. Can you see her?
Connection is not so very good, I must admit.
Yes, I know. I have problem with the connection, but you can hear me well or no?
We can
If
hear
not,
you. We can hear you.
I try to fix the problem. One moment, please. Wait.
Otherwise, I would ask Lorella to come in. In the meantime, you can fix a little bit on that sound. And in that case, I will ask. It's up to you. If okay.
Now, can you hear me well?
It's much better. Excellent.
Much better. So, well, I'm going to share my presentation. It's a short presentation about with the main conclusion of the capacity building in the research session that thanks to Elise and Viridiana to summarize the conclusion. So let me one moment to share again the presentation here. Can you see it? Can you see my presentation?
It's coming.
Not yet. It's loading, I think.
It's loading.
Mm.
Yes, you are there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the attendees, I would like to start with a very short summarize about who participate in this session. This session was participating from the University of Cádiz and Professor Marc Servan, that is attending today with us, that is research in the University of Cádiz and expert in logistics and ports. And also the representative of the European University of the Sea, CU, that is a program from the Erasmus Plus program, and consists of an alliance of university who are developing master degree, joint master degree, and graduate in blue economy. But Marc is working on this kind of titulations. From France, participate the cooperation research Brest Rimouski Bianin from the Department of the University of the Bretagne, and from Andalusia participated Thinking Azul project that is a regional program in marine science that is investigating in the real situation and the potential innovation of marine science from aquaculture, blue economy, and marine observation. Well, the dynamic of the session was working in groups, and with the main purpose to share identify the potential tools of collaboration between institutions from Canada and from Europe. In this sense, this is some sentences or tips to improve, to foster the discussion. And the main sentence was, for example, what my institution may offer to cooperate in the frame of blue economy sectors, because each institution is developing own programs of collaboration, not only with European, in the case of Europe, European institution, but also in a international dimension. So what could be this measure, or could be these tools to make the mutual collaboration effective? So after a few minutes of discussion, because we had a little bit rush, the main conclusion in the research section of the capacity building was the following. The first was that we can learn about the existing collaboration program, like the Institut France of Quebec Maritime and the CU European University Alliance, or the Seymar Foundation as a platform that help or develop joint projects and initiatives between the industry and the research institutions. Another conclusion was the identification of potential blue economy sectors of interest between the participants of this capacity building. And in this sense, we identify the sector of green shipping and ports, aquaculture, marine data sharing, and marine renewable energy, as each institution or each country is working on these sectors. And another possibility of mutual collaboration was through the Erasmus Plus program, and more specifically with the mobility projects for the student research and staff exchange, not only for study, but also for research stay or develop joint projects. Because the Erasmus Plus has international dimension and has a budget for proposal with countries that not belongs to Europe. In another measure or another possibility to collaborate was develop a joint course or summer school as a tool to start a collaboration. For example, in the University of Cádiz in Seymar, we each year organize an international summer school that could be a good possibility to invite research or experts from, in this case, Canada or Wales, to share or to teach to the students of these summer schools. And another main program that was mentioned in this capacity building was the Horizon Europe initiatives. For example, with the Marie Curie actions, in order to develop a research network or postgraduate networks. It was another possibility. As you can see, the main purpose of this capacity building was identify specific tools to make real the collaboration between countries. Finally, the main conclusion was that all these tools are very good, but we are going to share in a collaborative document where identify the real potential and capacity of each institution that participate in these projects, and identify the blue economy sector of interest for this mutual collaboration. And during this month, until the next visit to Wales, where we consolidate this main conclusion, or this main initiative of this collaboration, in order to pass to our next step of the project's results.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eva. I think this is a fantastic overview and a very clear description of the output and the results of the meeting that you have had in Quebec. And I think food for thought and work on the planche for the next months, so that we are better in better preparation for the meeting in Wales. So yes, we listen very carefully to what you said, and we see very carefully which tools you would like to apply within this cooperation. That's very crucial. And next to the research institutions, we have also the SME and the SME clusters, where Mrs. Lorella Cuti, who is, let's say, the International Relations Manager of Forum Oceano, will give a short update what has been discussed between the SMEs, the small and medium-sized enterprises, and the clusters of small and medium-sized enterprises in the blue economy. Lorella, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Wim. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lorella Silti. I'm honored to share with you some key conclusions related to the mission to Quebec with European and Quebec-based SMEs and cluster exploring spaces for collaboration. The discussions in Quebec have shed light to actionable strategies and shared goals for advancing the transatlantic cooperation, particularly in the blue economy and innovation sectors. And let me briefly mention, since I'm taking time from the second session, the main takeaways relating to this. First of all, exchange of knowledge and expertise sharing. In the mission, one of the strongest findings was the immense potential for collaboration through shared expertise. While financial constraints may limit SMEs, knowledge exchange can unlock new opportunities. For example, connecting industry and research is crucial, and tools like the TransAtlantic Project matchmaking platform that we have, that is a virtual hub for mapping stakeholders and hosting thematic meetings, could be one step to enhance collaboration as well. Another point is leveraging cultural similarities. Quebec and European SMEs share similar skills, ambition, and making partnership more accessible compared to collaborating with large corporations. The historical trade relationships and the shared approach to business create a strong foundation, and an equal footing foster trust and open doors for meaningful cooperation as well. Another key outcome, I wanted to mention that the shared infrastructure and financial support. The transatlantic cooperation can gain momentum by optimizing shared sources and funding. For example, leveraging Horizon Europe for projects, and we will explore in the second session more funding opportunities to foster the collaboration, and exploring the investment support and funds that we have, and startups and SMEs could benefit from them. Also, accessing shared facilities, like, for example, using Quebec advanced infrastructure, or Europe's during seasonal limitations, was one of the outcomes as well. And also very important that I want to highlight is the CETA, the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, that has an untapped potential for the blue economy initiatives and SMEs partnership. But here I wanted to also highlight there is a space here for clusters to develop a pivotal role by, for example, disseminating the advantage of the agreements among their ecosystem, that is very important, and connect stakeholders to allow the development of innovating initiatives as well. Another point that came out is regarding the innovation for ports and green corridors. Small innovative projects can also catalyze larger transformation in ports. For example, testing solutions locally can lay the groundwork for transatlantic green corridors. For instance, the Port of Quebec's innovations or the Port of Sines collaborations with Brazil can serve as successful case studies. Another point is that the follow-up is crucial. Viridiana also mentioned that discussions like this only bear fruit when followed by actions. So it's important, and here appears again the role of the cluster as main and crucial actors to setting a clear action point and timelines. And also came up that attending key conference to sustain momentum and deepen connection is important as well. So that were the main outcomes of the mission of Quebec related to more collaboration among SMEs and SMEs clusters. And in summary, by building on shared knowledge, leveraging similarities, and committing to scalable and actionable follow-ups, we can achieve progress in innovation, sustainability, and economic growth in the transatlantic area. So thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lorella. And I think with these words, it's almost Christmas, I can hear, so I hear the bells. So this makes the message is very clear. The cooperation between research institutions, the cooperation between SME clusters, and the cooperation between SMEs and research institutions these are three key pillars which have to work on the next year within the Transatlantic Project. Now we go to the second leg of this session, and there we will invite, in the first place, Mr. Marcin Sadowski from DG Mare, in order to speak about the possibilities for the blue economy under Horizon Europe. Mr. Sadowski, are you ready to go ahead?
I am here. Thank you very much, Wim. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you are. I'm trying to share. If you could tell me if I am actually sharing my screen, that would be
everything fine. Excellent.
Helpful. Thank you. And is it actually in
the right mode?
In the right mode. Okay.
In the right mode.
Then I just have one problem, sorry, left, which is that I don't have the screen to change the slides. Bear with me for a second. Okay, they changed like that. Okay, seems to work. So indeed, my name is Marcin Sadowski. I'm from the Directorate General for Maritime Affairs and Fisheries of the European Commission, and more specifically from the Secretariat of the Mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters, which I will tell you about. But I thought before diving into the mission, I would take a step back and say a very few words about Horizon Europe as such, in case there are people here who are not that familiar with it. So this is the framework program for research and innovation of the European Union, the 9th consecutive such framework program, running from 21 until 27, with a budget of almost 100 billion euro. And it has a structure that I will not go into details, so don't worry, but just to highlight the parts that are of interest to us here. Horizon Europe is organized in 3 pillars. We like to have things in pillars, and it's usually 3 in the European Union. So there is pillar 1, which is excellent science, and this is mostly bottom-up and individual grants. The pillar I will be concentrating on is Pillar 2, Global Challenges and European Industrial Competitiveness. And here you see the missions are also in this pillar. And the reason I want to mention the whole pillar a little bit is that there is also possible funding for the blue economy to be found in Horizon Europe in different places, not only in the mission. So these are the 6 pillars, the 6 clusters of the second pillar of Horizon Europe. And especially the last 3, so Pillar 4, Digital Industry and Space, Pillar 5, Climate, Energy and Mobility, and Cluster 6, Food, Bioeconomy and Natural Resources are the areas where you can conceivably find funding for blue economy related things. Digital industry and space covers areas such as manufacturing technologies, advanced computing, artificial intelligence, circular industries. So it's not aimed at the blue economy, but conceivably has ties to it. In Cluster 5, Climate, Energy and Mobility, we have, for example, the Zero Emission Waterborne Transport Partnership, which, as the name implies, is very much about the blue economy. And Cluster 6, which is food and bioeconomy, is just that. It's bio-based innovation systems. So everything that is aquaculture, for example, would be funded there. So this part of Horizon Europe has a budget of, this is roughly half the budget of Horizon Europe, 53 billion, and the missions are about 10% of this. So last general word about Horizon Europe. The way it works is that there are yearly calls for proposals published for multinational, at least 3 institutions from 3 member states or associated countries must participate in a consortium. There are calls for proposals which are evaluated according to set criteria and by external experts, and then the most successful ones are funded. And the missions or the projects funded under the EU missions work according to Horizon Europe rules and regulations. So now, what are the missions? They are a part, or maybe it would be more appropriate to say that a part of the missions is a part of Horizon Europe. So they are meant as a new way of bringing innovative solutions to our greatest problems. There are 5 EU missions: cancer, climate adaptation, soil, cities, and of course, most importantly, for me, the EU mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters. By 2030, that's the date. And well, the missions are meant to be more than just research and innovation. They are a new thing. We keep saying they're an experiment. They're still an experiment. They were launched 3 years ago, but they are still a new thing, and they are evolving as they go. So they stem, or I will stop using the plural maybe and concentrate on our mission. It stems from Horizon Europe. So the funding is in the form of, the direct funding is in the form of Horizon Europe projects. But the ambition is to go beyond research and innovation, go beyond Horizon Europe. And a very important part of the mission is the societal buy-in. It is very much about bringing solutions to the people, if I may say so, to those who actually need them and will use them. So there is a lot about engaging with society. We try to find synergies with other funding programs and bring in funds from outside Horizon Europe, and cooperate with as many people, institutions, and stakeholders as we can. So the mission has 3 objectives, as you see here: protecting and restoring biodiversity, preventing and eliminating pollution of course, the ocean and waters. And the third objective is to make the blue economy carbon neutral and circular. And also I have to mention the 2 enablers, one of which is the digital ocean waters knowledge system. This is mainly, or indeed exclusively, the digital twin ocean that is being developed, and the public engagement and mobilization part, for which we have several initiatives that I will, in the interest of time, not go into the details of. I will later on mention briefly the charter, associated regions, which are a means of spreading the solutions elaborated by projects to other areas, and communities of actors working together with communities of actors such as, cities, islands, ports, fishing communities, and so on. And the goals of the objective of blue economy, as you see, are net zero maritime emissions, zero carbon aquaculture, and a low carbon multi-purpose use of marine space. Finally, when we started the mission, it is still organized in around the 4 sea and river basins geographically, so Baltic and North Sea, Mediterranean, Atlantic and Arctic, and the Danube River Basin and Black Sea. The point I would like to make here is that in the first phase of the mission, these lighthouses, as we call these areas, these hubs, were specialized in terms of the mission objectives. So, for example, the blue economy objective was spearheaded by the Baltic and North Sea basin. For that reason, if you see the mission projects on blue economy, they are all from the Baltic and North Sea basin. But the idea was to start to get things moving, and we are now, because of course all the objectives of the mission have to be met everywhere, we are moving away from this specialization, and all objectives will be addressed in all river basins, and this is already the case. So as other parts of Horizon Europe, we publish a yearly what we call a work program, which is the call for proposals. It follows the impact-driven logic of generally Horizon Europe, but even more so, missions are more about the concrete solutions and much less about pure research. So most of our projects are what we call innovation actions, which is higher technology readiness levels. And as I said, we have this mechanism of bringing in associated regions into the projects that will then replicate the solutions. We work on citizens' engagement, and the idea generally is to build on previous successful projects and bring the solutions further or closer to the ground or to the water, as the case may be, and use them. So since the start of the mission, we have published 4 work programs. As you see, 100 and something million euro funding per year. We now have 67 projects that are running from the first 3 years. the evaluations of the fourth call for proposals from 24 are ongoing. The results should be made known soon, any day now, in fact, before Christmas, certainly. Excuse me. And the work program for 25 is currently in preparation and should be published in the first quarter of 2025 with a similar budget. So among the 67 projects that we have that are running, we have several projects directly concerned with our third priority, the blue economy. So in 21, we had a call for coordination and support actions. That's the CSA acronym, a coordination action that runs in the Baltic and North Sea lighthouse region and coordinates and supports the innovation ecosystem there. Then there was a call for projects on low impact marine aquaculture and multi-purpose use of marine space in 21. 2 projects came from that. Sustainable algae-based products in 22. Community-driven business models concerning regenerative ocean farming in 22 as well. All these projects are, well, they either have their own websites or are findable on Cordis, the database or whatever, the web page that has all the EU-funded projects with their a certain level of detail. And then in 23, we had the call for green and energy efficient small-scale fishing fleets and nature-inclusive concepts to reconcile offshore renewables with ocean protection. So these are the kind of subjects that were called for. As you see, much of it is about bringing together the economical aspects, competitiveness, with being nice to the environment, to the water environment. So reconciling the two sides of the equation. In 24, the evaluations are not over. There was no topic that could be, strictly speaking, named the blue economy topic, but we did have a topic on reducing the environmental impact of fisheries, which is again about reconciling the fisheries, which is the economy, and the environmental impact. So that's the mission. Then for completeness, I would just like to, okay, time is running out, so I will not go into details. I would like to point out that there is a Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, which is co-funded by the European Union. It is a network of 74 partner institutions from 30 countries now. It is growing, and it has calls for proposals on blue economy related topics. That is another source of funding. And finally, I would like to just mention very briefly the non-funding activities, non-direct funding activities of the mission, one of which is the mission charter, which is a non-binding commitment to work towards the goals of the mission, and gives the adherence to the charter visibility, access to a community, information exchange, and so on. Around 1,000 actions have submitted their action to the mission charter. So, okay, here we are patting ourselves on the back how nicely we engage with people and stakeholders. A final thing to mention is the Blue Champions scheme, whereby through a again, a competitive call. Certain companies that have projects in line with the mission's objectives are selected and given free coaching advice in terms of investment and access to investment as Blue champions through the Blue Invest scheme and the European Investment Bank. Last word, we have every year a mission forum, which is held in March since last year, and this will be repeated. The forum has evolved into a whole week, the European Ocean Days, a whole week of events where all kinds of ocean stakeholders meet, talk, network, listen to each other and engage, and all the information may be found here. And finally, the last slide and the last word is that we have a mission implementation portal, which the aim is to have a one-stop shop for the mission. And this is where you can find, in principle, everything. So financing, solutions, news from the lighthouses, funding possibilities, upcoming calls, and well, everything that you always wanted to know about the mission, but were afraid to ask. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadowski. I think you have triggered our hunger in order to join the exercise to restore oceans and waters. It has been a very clear and transparent presentation, because from the outside it's sometimes difficult to understand where Blue Economy is positioned within this kind of mission statements. And I think you have given us a very well, let's say, walk through the park in order to show which tree is green and which tree is blue. And I see that I'm sure that there will be follow-up on this presentation to the questions. Unfortunately, for those who have the potatoes in the oven, put the fire a little bit lower, because I can see that we, from time point of view, we will overload. We will pass the 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So just to warn you, please postpone your dinner for some minutes. It has been mentioned in the presentation of Mr. Sadowski, there is the European Maritime Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund. It's one of the funds where the mission statement is looking for cooperation beyond horizon. So I would like to ask to Mrs. Julia Bale to give a kind of a short outline what has been realized within the Atlantic Ocean in the field of the European Fishery Fund. Mrs. Bell, can I ask you to come in, please?
Yes, hello. I'm also trying to share now my presentation. I have to move to presentation mode. No, somehow Teams is in. Okay. Oh, okay. Can you see my presentation?
Everything fine. Excellent.
Everything
Thank
fine.
you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, yeah. So I would like to quickly introduce myself. My name is Julia Beile. I'm a project advisor in CINEA. That's one of the executive agencies of the European Commission. You're still seeing in presentation mode, oh?
Yes, we see, but
yes,
you're
okay,
jumping
okay,
from...
then
We're seeing your entire screen actually, so we can see you
okay,
flip
then,
between
okay,
both
no,
modes.
then okay, no, then I have to stay to this screen. Okay. Indeed. So this is CINEA. The executive is one of the executive agencies of the European Commission. We are managing different programs for the European Commission. Indeed, also one part on Horizon Europe and the Mission Ocean, but other programs like the LIFE program, the Innovation Fund, the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism, the Connecting Europe Facility, and the Just Transition Mechanism. And I'm representing the European Maritime and Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund, which we are implementing for DG Mare. The fund as such is has been for many years a fisheries and fisheries fund in the past that is shared in or implemented in shared management with the member states, but 10 years ago in May 2014, it has been for the first time some part of this fund has been delegated to an executive agency. This was at the time still EASME, and somehow in 2021 the funds got a new name. The agencies have been reorganized, so since then we are in CINEA, and we have been celebrating this year also 10 years of funding sustainable blue economy. So, through direct funding, so mostly calls for proposals. You can see on this infographic a bit that some milestones that the portfolio has been very broad, from really more sector specific blue economy projects to SME. We have been doing many projects on blue careers, support to maritime spatial planning, starting the Blue Invest Initiative, EU for Algae. There's an aquaculture assistance mechanism. And in addition to the calls for proposals, we are also implementing through so-called service contracts different policy initiatives of DG Mare, and among them is the Sea Basin Assistance Mechanism. Actually, since 2015, the governance of the Atlantic Action Plan has been supported through an assistance mechanism by the EU. So the action plan is linked to the Atlantic strategy. There has been a revision in 2020, and there are different pillars I'm going to explain in a moment. And this assistance mechanism is a kind of a secretariat supporting the pillar coordinators, supporting the Atlantic Strategy Committee, monitoring and reporting and evaluating the initiative and action plan. And since 2022, we had 3 different assistance mechanisms for 3 different sea basins. This has been all united under one service contract, and there are now more and more also cross sea basin initiatives, meetings, exchanges taking place. Coming to the Atlantic, I don't know how familiar you are with this or not, but the Atlantic Action Plan has 4 pillars on which it is going to focus, and this is the pillar 1, Atlantic ports as gateways and hubs for the blue economy. The pillar 2 is blue skills of the future and ocean literacy. Pillar 3 is marine renewable energy, and pillar 4 is healthy oceans and resilient cones. And I would, in the frame of this presentation, give you now some concrete examples how through direct funding and call for proposal, the European Maritime Fisheries Support Fund has been supporting the Atlantic strategy and the 4 pillars. I'm starting with the ASPAN project. This is a bit one of the flagships that as it's was one of the first projects that was also in line with the strategies. It has been supporting EU Atlantic ports in diversifying the focus and revenue sources of their business models by acting in a more sustainable and smart way. The project was running until last spring. In 2023, it included at the end of the project an investor boot camp, and there have been many presentations of the project also afterwards in the European Parliament, and it's still been quoted as a benchmark for projects in the Atlantic. You can also see there are partners from the US and Norway as affiliated partners, so not only EU member states. And in line with Pillar 2, this is also a project that already in 2021 and was actually launched in 2019, so 1 year before the Atlantic Action Plan came into place, but it has been in 2020 directly awarded with the Atlantic Project Award in the category Blue Skills and Ocean Literacy. It is one of, in the meantime, 26 projects with a budget of 18.5 million that, under the European Maritime Fisheries and the Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund, projects have been supported in the area of blue skills. And MareNet tackled the mismatch between the blue economy industry demands and training offer in several ways. As an example, the project developed digital tools to monitor the current status of demand and training offers and created a searchable and geolocated catalog of trainings. project ended in October 21 already, but it continues its activities under the brand Atlantic Maritime Knowledge Center Marinet. I have a second example that's a bit more recent and ongoing. It was officially not a Blue Careers or Blue Skills call, but addressing particularly the issue of women in the blue economy, and it has a strong representation from the Atlantic countries. It also includes Norway and has been selected as Atlantic success story for Pillar 2 by the assistance mechanism in 2024. It aims to map the gender status and capacity gaps across sea basins and blue sectors in order to develop tailored capacity building tools to make the European blue industry more gender balanced and sustainable. And for Pillar 3, there has been a dedicated call on marine renewable energy, particular focus on multi-use. This was a call launched in 2021. The project started. There have been 2 projects selected. The first one was Flora, that will be coming to an end now in January. It's a floating radar to be developed on an industrial prototype of an ocean station that can generate renewable energy and has also oceanographic capabilities, so it could be also useful in the context of maritime spatial planning. The project won this year the Atlantic Project Award in Bordeaux and is currently running its demonstration tests in the Canary Islands. And the second project is Aquawind, that was has been developing an innovative multi-use prototype combining offshore renewable energy and aquaculture in the Atlantic basin. The project has been making in many ways significant progress. It's still running until next year in August, both in the area of legal permits, but also a lot on stakeholder involvement and social commitment, very active with outreach activities in many major events. But it has been also working further on the improvement of the design structure, and there have been in the field of aquaculture has also completed the first steps of a new prototype aquaculture cage. So now moving to Pillar 4, I'm coming back again to a project that has ended in 2021, but meets already the objective, and this is the project BlueNet. And it looks at this issue of healthy oceans, notably through the reduction of marine litter. It has been aimed to set up a program for recycling abandoned, lost and discarded fishing and aquaculture gear by recovering gear from the sea and using it as a raw material to manufacture new gear. And the second project is from the last so-called flagship call for the Atlantic. It's more on the resilient side and supporting coastal fishing regions in its economic growth. It will be achieved through the integration and promotion of Atlantic tourist products and services related to fishing, aquaculture, and maritime heritage. And the idea of this project is there has been an incubator program that has been launched this summer. They have been selected per country, per participating countries, so from France, Portugal, and Spain. 10 participants, and they are now participating in this incubator program. And at the end of it, the 2 best per country will be selected, and they are joining a navigation tour from France to Portugal to have strategic stops for B2B exchanges and other networking activities to gain exposure to potential partners and investors. So investors are also a bit now the keyword for more general initiative that is also supported by the Maritime Aquaculture and Fisheries Fund to support the Atlantic strategy. And this is via Blue Invest. It's more of a cross-cutting nature. The platform has been launched in April 2019 to foster and accelerate investment and innovation in sustainable blue economy technologies. And the reason I mentioned this now is that Blue Invest can also assist different startups in finding investors and financing sources. It has been set up initially for a 3-year pilot, but given its high satisfaction rate, has been then extended for 4 more years under the European Maritime Fisheries Fund. And the main objectives are boosting investment readiness among blue economy companies, improving access to finance, and attracting investors to the blue economy, and getting innovation to the market. Wim was mentioning the blue and the green trees. I'm in fact picking up that point. Sine has a bit linking the synergies between green and blue. Often we are called the energy the agency of the European Green Deal, but in fact it is one of the agencies with the biggest maritime focus. Which might be a bit surprising, but we aim to create synergies between all programs and to bring together the green and the blue. You might be surprised to hear that we have maritime projects under almost all of our programs with a wide sectoral coverage, from renewable energy to ports and the protection of the marine environment. So, for instance, under the Connecting Europe facility, we support port infrastructure and projects such as access to Napa, supports the development of ports in the Northern Adriatic. Under Horizon, support waterborne transport, research and innovation projects, but also projects in offshore renewable energies, wind, wave, and tidal energy. And then, we have the team of the ocean mission in the house that was just presented by the speaker before. And then the Innovation Fund also has been for supporting projects like the Green Moor Drill project to transform seaports of Mile into the first port able to operate off-grid while maintaining its basic services. Thanks to a self-managed energy community using renewable energies. And then last but not least, LIFE. We have many projects related to marine environment and restoration of ecosystem. This gives the agency great added value, and we are trying really to bring together often these different programs in events like the European Maritime Day to create synergies and show a bit the big spectrum of the agency. And now, last but not least, I wanted to share one open call for proposal that is open to different sea basins, but including the Atlantic, and still running until the 18th of February. And this is on smart specialization for sustainable blue economy and regenerative ocean farming. It is divided in 2 topics. There's an overall budget of €5,700,000, and one is on maritime regional cooperation, fostering smart specialization and innovation in the sustainable blue economy. And the other one on demonstrating feasibility, environmental benefits of regenerative ocean farming, and boosting algae innovation. So this is a bit an overview of what we are doing and have been doing to support the Atlantic, in particular focus on the Atlantic strategy. I myself, following also the service contracts we have for the assistance mechanism for the Atlantic. And we are in regular contact here also with CPMR. We have Interreg.
I would like to thank you for this.
Happy to exchange further.
Yes, thank you very much for this full fishnet, full of interesting and challenging projects, and also for the invitation for the next call. I think this is really impressive what Cinia, and I must admit I did know that the maritime focus was so high within Cinia, so this is an interesting topic to investigate. I thank you for this presentation, Mrs. Bale, and I would like to ask Mrs. Silva and Mr. Kolakshazov if Mr. Jean-François Lupien can come first, because he has to leave. He has an appointment at 6, so I would like to ask Monsieur Lupien to come first to make a short presentation about Investissement Québec International, which is one of the key public instruments within the, let's say, the Quebec support structures for SMEs. Monsieur Lupien, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you very much, Wim. and sorry for the two other speakers. I really have a hard stop at noon. So for that reason, I wish to present very quickly who's Invest Quebec, what we do, and how we can support. So I will share. It's my turn to share my presentation. So please let me know when you see it. Is it on?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. I'll just put it full screen. Fantastic. So thank you very much for having me for this presentation. So very quickly, my name is Jean-François Lupien. I am Director of Foreign Direct Investment. I'm based out of Paris. At a Paris office, I'm in charge of the French, Spanish, and Portuguese markets. I do have other colleagues that are in charge of other European markets as well, but I was the lucky one to present you today. So first of all, I wanted to introduce Invest Quebec as, I would say, your main partner. And this presentation is more focused on the corporate side, and then for SMEs and businesses that would wish to maybe invest and have a presence in the province of Quebec, because actually, if you have a presence, it opens the door to a few financing options and subsidies, and of course, the support and the help of Invest Quebec. So as a crown corporation, so we're the financial arm of the Ministry of Economy, Innovation, and Energy. Invest Quebec is, as I said, a crown corporation, so we're under the ministry, and then for that reason, so we're public organization that really aims to support the economic development of the province. So as you can see here, the support services, even though we're a public bank, so that's the main focus of Invest Quebec, we do have the economic development arm that will be extremely helpful in this case for all the participants on this call. So we're there to provide business intelligence, to support the connection with the ecosystems, depending on the type of SME or business that you have. You might be looking for sites, partners, what are the regions where you would get the best partners. We support with the business contacts, the local sourcing. And obviously, there are a few partners on this call that are from Quebec, which are also reliable partners that we work with. And as I said, we're a public bank, so we provide multitude of financing solutions and government incentives, depending on the types of projects you're working on. Very quickly, there are reasons why we believe investing in Quebec makes sense. Given this, like the topic of this presentation, I think the R&D is one of the major, I would say, reasons why you would like to invest in Quebec. So we're the Canadian leader in R&D investments in regards to the percentage of GDP. You have more than 500,000 students in 18 universities, 140 colleges, which are obviously major partners when it comes to collaborative research. And then the other important thing to keep in mind is that very often when you're looking at Quebec, you're looking at North America. So if we compare Quebec and the rest of the North American market, we're a strategic location because the operating costs and the access to the incentives are a lot higher than any other provinces or US states. For those of you, I guess you have a really good idea where Quebec is, but I think it's important to understand well, the location, but also the fact that we're 22% of the Canadian population, also the economy of the province. I do like to do this comparison sometimes, but the GDP of the province is superior to Finland and also Portugal. So which makes sense for you to understand, I would say the weight of the province in the economy, especially when it comes to well, to North America. Here, I wanted to present you like a few industries where we're good. Obviously, the ocean is at the core of this presentation. However, it is very, I would say it comes across many of other industries, and I feel like it's important for you to better understand where Quebec is also very good. Well, the aerospace and naval industry is very mature, clean technologies, natural resources, digital technologies that do fit well within the scope of what you guys are doing. Life sciences, I heard a lot of aquaculture, and then biotech that can be very well used in life sciences. And then here you have just an overview of the few incentives and financing options that are available to companies that would wish to establish and have a presence in Quebec. So you see, I will not go through each of them, but you see that they're all by team. And then obviously this presentation will be sent over to everyone. So what I would suggest is if you have any questions or if you need any support to better understand how to set foot in Quebec, how to build a new business, how to incorporate what's the fiscal, how would you better understand the fiscal environment in Quebec. So those are all the questions that we like to answer. All of our services are free. So given the fact that I'm based in Europe, please feel free to reach out. I did this very quickly because I have to leave, but thank you for having me, and really please feel free to reach out if there's anything.
Mr. Lupien, thank you very much for this presentation. I think this is a very clear invitation for all people working with SMEs and research in order to have a closer look to your presentation and also to investigate the opportunities for setting up cooperation in the future. I think this is a very wise introduction, and also the key sectors which are present on the territory of Quebec. I think it's very important to show where are potential connections to be made in the line with maritime and blue economy. So I wish you success in your next meeting. So and I thank you very much for being here and to share this information with us. So have a nice evening, and well, enjoyable Christmas days if they are
Thank
coming
you.
up. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Da Silva, I hope you're not unhappy, but for this little mixture in the programmation, but I would like to ask you and to invite you to speak more about the, let's say, the future of the Atlantic Framework, Atlantic Area program, which is now running to an end, the 6th program, but there is future to come. So please please come in.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today and to participate in this very relevant discussion about the transatlantic cooperation in the blue economy. My name is Sandra Tavares da Silva. I'm representing the Managing Authority of the Interreg Atlantic Area Program, which is a policy instrument from the European Territorial Cooperation under the cohesion policy. I'm going to try to share my screen. Give me just 1 minute, please. I don't know why I think I cannot share it. But I think that you, okay, let me try again. Loretta, if you don't mind, can you please do the...
Yes, of course, I can take over from here.
Okay, so we can move to the next slide, Loretta, please. Okay, so a very brief presentation of our program for those that might not know us. As mentioned, we are a transnational cooperation European program, and we are aligned with several strategic EU policies, including the European Blue Growth Strategy, the European Green Deal, the Territorial Agenda for 2030, and the EU Atlantic Maritime Strategy. And it is our primary goal to be at the vanguard of the transition towards a distinctive, carbon neutral, and climate resilient Atlantic area. Moreover, the program aims to integrate sustainable economic growth, societal well-being, and biodiversity preservation by fostering cooperation among Atlantic regions. It brings together stakeholders from diverse sectors and territories precisely to develop and implement transformative solutions aligned with its goals, ultimately generating tangible benefits for those who live and work in the Atlantic regions. The maritime dimension of the program is the main characteristic. We have blue in our DNA for sure, and it shapes our main approach and strategies. The program is very well aligned with the EU Atlantic Maritime Strategy framework and the 4 pillars that Julie presented us previously. And indeed, we are trying to promote synergies that enhance efforts, drive more significant impact, and amplify results. These collaborations aim to achieve meaningful outcomes that can really influence public policies and contribute to long-term regional development in the Atlantic. As you can see in the screen, the program has 4 policy objectives, 3 of which are thematic, so blue innovation and competitiveness, blue and green environment, and blue sustainable tourism and culture. The 4th priority is totally dedicated to governance, trying to enhance the capacity building in the Atlantic regions. The budget is 150 million euros, 113 ARDF, and the co-financing rate is 75%. The eligible area is represented in the screen. It includes the Atlantic regions of Portugal, Spain, France, and Ireland. Currently, we are financing 27 projects that were approved under the first call and correspond to an allocation of around 53% of our budgets. We have 2 calls going on. One, the second one, dedicated to governance, and it will close next Friday, so almost closing. We are just going to approve one operation that will be an operation of strategic importance for the program, and that wants really to build on creating bridges between the Atlantic regions and policy instruments that fund our territory. So a lot to do with moving from the Interreg bubble and connecting with other policy instruments and eventually with other territories. And the 3rd call is going to close mid-February. Since the seminar today targeted the green corridors, the decarbonization of ports, and the development of sustainable aquaculture and marine renewable energy, I have selected a few Atlantic area projects that are now being implemented precisely in these thematic areas, but we have others, like for example on tourism, with very interesting outcomes already that can be explored in a transatlantic way. So I will ask you then to move to the next slide, Loretta, please, to show precisely one of these projects, IDEA, boosting the hydrogen transition in the Atlantic area ports. It aims to accelerate the development and application of technologies using green hydrogen as an energy alternative in different fields and vehicles, taking another step forward in research for the development and application of alternatives to current energy sources. The project is planning pilot projects for the integration of clean energies in the ports of Brest in France, Leixões in Portugal, Vigo, Spain, and Sevilla, also Spain, by precisely trying to boost the use of green hydrogen in maritime operations. You can see there that the budget is 3.43 million euros with 10 partners and 13 associated partners. Last month in Bordeaux, during the Atlantic Strategy Stakeholders Platform Conference, this project received the Atlantic Award in the category Atlantic Ports and Blue Economy. Moving now to the next slide, please. IFERS, Hybrid Solutions for Renewable Energy System, a project led by Trinity College in Dublin with a total budget of 3.2 million euros, 8 partners and 4 associated partners. The project wants to develop advanced systems combining different renewable energy sources, wind, solar, hydropower, and store that energy when needed. They also plan to create affordable and eco-friendly power systems and build intelligent softwares that use sensors, big data analysis, and artificial intelligence to manage better and predict how different renewable energy sources can work together in a hybrid system. The goal is also to support local communities and industries like agriculture, aquaculture, and ports to benefit precisely those that can be using more renewable energy and becoming more self-sufficient, reducing their carbon footprint and moving then towards more sustainable energy sources. Pilots are being planned by sectors. On aquaculture, it will be in Ireland, agriculture in Spain, and then a community energy being prepared in Portugal by the company Green Volt. Moving now to the following slide, please. We have ports, decarbonization and digitalization of Atlantic ports. As the name suggests, it is inspired by the evidence that ports in distinct Atlantic locations face similar challenges and can use common solutions and tools to become more sustainable. It plans to try out 3 pilots to see how digital technology and artificial intelligence can help manage energy more efficiently. The project wants to explore new ways to reduce carbon emissions, such as hydrogen, and test devices that can use different energy sources. The main goal is to create a plan that helps these ports to use green energy wisely and benefit the territories and communities, so clearly sustaining the Atlantic territories. You have, in this case, a Spanish lead partner located in Galicia, Fundación Instituto Tecnológico, and the budget is 2.84 million euros with 6 partners and 1 associated partner. Moving now to the following slide. As I mentioned, I just want to bring here a few examples of how our funded projects are very well related with the thematics that we are discussing here and how they really work in collaboration with several territories and stakeholders. I want to recall again that we have an open call until February 14 and talk a little bit about the common and most recommended partnership that we select for our operations. Talking a little bit indeed about the composition of the partnership, also because we are here today to try to see if we can build bridges from a transatlantic perspective. The partnership, we are all aware, it is a major factor within the project assessment, since indeed to develop tangible and visible outputs and long-lasting results, it is essential to have the appropriate partnership capable to really implement the goals of the project. Our partnerships are built on 3 types of partners: the lead partners, the project partners, and the associated partners. And the associated partners do not receive funds from the program, but they can participate actively, sharing knowledge and expertise in the consortium. Partners must, of course, have the capacity and knowledge in the project area to participate and deliver the envisaged project results. And in addition, they must have administrative and adequate resources that are required to participate in a transnational project. For the lead partner to be eligible, there have to be a public body or a university, education research organization, private institutions, if not for profit, and international organizations acting under national law. The lead partner must be located in the program eligible area. Okay, moving now to the following slide, please. On average, we have around 9 partners in our projects, but they have to include at least 4 because you need at least 1 partner from each of the member states participating in the program. And the program advises not to have more than 12, otherwise the partnership will be very difficult to manage. Companies can be partners, but only if they are small and medium enterprises. So the program is not open to large companies. Entities outside the Atlantic area are eligible under certain conditions that must be discussed within the sovereign body, the decision body of the program, the monitoring committee, to be partners, okay? Because to be associated partner, any entity outside the Atlantic area can come. In administrative terms, the associated partners just have to release a signed letter expressing their compromise with the operation. Moving now to the following slide, to emphasize that the program favors partnerships constructed in the logic of a quadruple helix, so including the relevant social and civil society, to have then better linkages between public, private, and research actors. So you can have the public sector, the academia or research centers, SMEs, or clusters of associations of enterprises and so on, to represent the private sector, and ideally also the civil society. We have some interesting projects now trying to involve the youth. Moving now to the following slide, talking about the partnership now. So we just had one call, a call that allocated 53% of our budget, as I said, with 27 projects approved. For this first call, we have 248 partners and 132 associated partners. The partners by country are represented there, and for partners, we just have those located in the 4 member states. For associated partners, we have other countries, entities from other countries. You have there, for example, Norway. You have also 1 partner from Morocco, and we have a few partners from the UK. In terms of the partners of the program, the most representative in relative terms is Spain, then Portugal and Ireland with more similar weights, and then Ireland with 19.4%. The associated partners are in the most relatively expressive weights from the eligible area, but as mentioned, also from other countries. Outside eligible area, the UK is the most representative. Moving now to the following slide. You have there, in absolute terms, so the partners outside the eligible area are just a few for now, 21, 27. Indeed, we just have 6 partners outside the eligible area and 13 associated partners. The partners are in the programs, in the countries that are part of the program, France, Spain, so regions from France and Spain that are not in the eligible area but participate as partners. And associated partners, as I mentioned before, we have the presence of the UK, 1 associated partner from Norway, 1 from Morocco, and 5 from France. If we go and look where are located these 6 partners from the UK, you have 1 in Welsh, 1 in Scotland, and the other 4 in England. Finally, moving to the last, almost the last slide. Going back to the 1420, in the 1420, the program had also the UK as participating country. We had in total 684 partners and 449 associated partners for a total of 71 funded projects, around 180 million euros, 150 ARDF. The program executed 99.9%, so almost all budget was successfully executed. We are now dealing with the administrative bureaucratic process of doing the closure, which is a bit demanding. Outside eligible area, in cumulative terms, during the whole programming period in the past, we had 52 partners and 91 associated partners. As you can see in this table, you have outside the eligible area, you have Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Norway, Spain, Netherlands, and UK. The UK at the time was part of the program, so not outside the eligible area, okay? This was generated automatically by the system, and that's the reason why it is there. But indeed, 1420, the UK was full partner. So you have there, for example, Netherlands, you have Belgium, Finland, countries from the EU, but you also have 2 partners from Norway. So, of course, having partners not located in the eligible area is a political decision if the monitoring committee approves or not. We, as program, being just instrumental, do not have a say on this, as you know, but we can tell you that we have the operational tools that we need to bring on board partners located outside the eligible area if needed. What we have done in the 1420 was the following. We have what we call an agreement with third countries. It is an agreement signed by the managing authority and the national authority of the country outside the eligible area that indeed details what has to be done, namely to do the management verifications in terms of expenditures. So the managing authority of the program acknowledges the system that the national authority of one of these countries outside the eligible area is going to adopt in order to do the follow-up of the partners participating in our projects and ensure that the expenditure is good and eligible to be funded. And so this was done during the 1420 with agreements signed with Belgium, for example, with Finland, with Germany, with Italy, and also with Norway and the Netherlands. Norway, outside the EU, it was possible to do it because at the political level, Norway at the time, 1420, decided to participate in the Interreg. Unfortunately, for the 21-27, the decision for Norway was to participate just in North Sea, so not in the other Interreg. And as you can see, at least from poll 1, this means that the attractiveness somehow is not the same. We just got one associated partner from Norway from the first call. So, to conclude, we really have the tools in operational terms to have in our projects partners located outside the eligible area. We can say about the experience with UK, for example, now that UK is not in the program anymore, as you can see, it's not so interesting for their partners. It's normal and expectable. And indeed, the impressions we got from surveys that we have been conducted recently, also to discuss the post-27, which was a request from the European Commission. Many stakeholders, in one of the question that is done, that what would you do if you could in Interreg, is having again with us UK partners or having partners located outside the eligible area, namely in a transatlantic perspective. So This kind of reactions are important and were gathered for our harvesting report that we will deliver to the Commission by the end of this month. So I will ask Loretta to go to the last slide, only to give us our information. So you can find us on KEEP as all the other Interreg. You can also find us in our website, where you find an Atlantic Connection Hub that can be very helpful for you to try to involve other entities in your projects. And please visit us, know our projects, as you will for sure confirm. We have very interesting operations now being implemented, and many more that were implemented during the last two programming periods, 7-13 and 14-20, with very interesting results connected with the thematics we are talking about today. And for sure, these results, as our ex post evaluation on the 14-20 showed, brought tangible results to our territories and should be indeed gathered, analyzed, and scaled up, categorized in a way that could be scaled up by other policy instruments and maximize the impact for the benefit of our Atlantic territories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Da Silva. I think you have made an excellent promotion for the next call, next calls, one for a few days and the others in February for the next, and also opening the door for the different stages of partnerships that can be developed today and tomorrow within the Atlantic area program. And I think this is something to think about, how to, for the future, how we can organize ourselves in a way that regions and countries outside the European Union can join this program. It's clear that there is a big hunger for that, and I think it's a matter now to see how we can make progress on this point. The first speaker has been promoting the cross-basin approach. So we jump from the Atlantic area to the Danube River Basin and to the Black Sea. And I would like to invite Mr. Gancho Kalaksazov, Director of ITI, which is an Institute for Technical Development in Bulgaria, to give a short outline about Erasmus. Considering the timing, Gancho, I would like to ask I understand it's not very fair, but I would like to ask to keep it short and to respect the timing, and to give us a small introduction about the next calls and the next rounds on Erasmus+. It has been mentioned in one of the conclusions for the research institutions, but I understand there is more to come. So Gancho, please take the floor. And for those who have been in the mission in Quebec, I think I will buy another bottle, so I can.
It's needed, yes. Thank you, Wim, and hello, everyone. It seems that I have to close the fishing season for this session, and yes, to be short but rich, starting directly with the presentation. Just to let me know if you see it.
Is it okay? Excellent, Gancho.
Okay, we are skipping this. So very briefly, what is the structure of Erasmus? We've got key action 1, mobility of individuals. You can take a quick overview. We've got key action 2, cooperation among organizations and institutions. Partnership for cooperation, including cooperation, partnership, and small-scale partnerships. We've got partnership for excellence, including European universities, centers of vocational excellence, Erasmus teachers, academies, Erasmus Mundus Action. We've got also a partnership for innovation, alliances for innovation, forward-looking projects. This year we've got one very new, brand new call, which was called experimentation policy call, which was really very interesting one. We've got several capacity building projects focused on higher education, VET, field of youth and sport, and Jean Monnet actions in the field of higher education. And I'm giving when you receive the presentation, you can find direct links to all the strategic documents for 2025. You can read the annual working program. You can read the program guide, which is very important. It gives the overview, all the details, eligibility criteria, and project activities and budget for all of the upcoming calls. You can find also call of proposal. This is the time framework of all the calls. So it's really practical information. You can take a look here on this slide. You can see all of the upcoming deadlines for K Action 1, where there are some opportunities for organizations, especially higher education institutions from Canada. So you can see that the first call coming in February. We've got some in October, and some calls in April. Here you can find all the deadlines for Key Action 2. It's interesting to take a look on Erasmus Mundus, the beginning of February, although mid of February, almost mid of February, and also you can take a look at the next slide, which is Jean Monnet Actions and Networks, again, mid of February. Why I'm stressing on these calls? Because organizations from Canada are eligible to join cooperation partnership. Here I'm giving a bit of a glance on different calls, although if we look at the possible calls on the program, we will find out that only a few of them are eligible for organizations from Canada, and I am presenting those calls. We've got thematic networks in higher education, Jean Monnet Network on external policy, EU and North America. Higher education institutions are eligible, especially from the so-called third countries not associated to Erasmus+, Canada and United States. Consortium has to be established by minimum 3 entities from Canada and 3 entities from United States. We've got different calls. K1 focused on student mobility for studies, student mobility for trainerships, staff mobility for teaching, for training, and blended intensive programs. Also, organizations, especially higher education institutions, can be partners in those calls. We've got accredited projects for mobility of learners and staff in vocational education and training. Project may not allocate more than 20% of the awarded grant to activities with third countries not associated to the program. Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, it's also a call where, if you can see, higher education institutions established in third country associated to the program can participate, and they do not have to have the so-called Erasmus Charter for Higher Education. They can participate only by following and committed to its principles. And that's it. I kept it very short, and I do hope you are all going to receive the presentation. You can follow the links. You can find more details. You've got my contacts. I'm really open to assist you, really go into details on some of those calls, comment, and try to apply. The only thing that I want to stress is that most of the calls are at the beginning of February. So during the Christmas period, you have to celebrate, but also to start thinking about some possible or some ideas coming out of the present boxes, and of course, forming a potential partnership. Thank you, Wim, for inviting me, and thank you all.
Thank you, Gancho. That's a very clear statement. For sure, we will send you the presentation that you have prepared, especially with the deadlines and the different topics which are eligible. We will send them around to the participants of today, so you can have a close look, like Gancho was mentioning, while you're dancing around a tree, or you're climbing on some snow tops somewhere on your skis, or you have to wait on the ski lift, ski elevator. You can have a look to the potential calls which are open, and also to set up maybe some of the partnerships which might be useful for setting up. Gancho, thank you very much for a very sharp and let's say elementary presentation of the Erasmus Plus conclusion. There are opportunities to work together, and let's say together with Sandra da Silva for the call number 3, you have to work in parallel on dual track in order to submit proposals. The most unthankful job is for Jaron Green. I would like to ask, he's the Christmas man of today. He's going to light the candle on the huge Christmas cake which has been served to you today, to all of you. Maybe Jaron, if I can ask you to, considering the time, to show, it's a very unthankful, again, like for Gancho, a very unthankful position. Next time, Wales will be always the first to speak in all the next meetings. I guarantee this to you. But maybe show very clearly the preparation for the mission to Wales, which is going to be organized from the 12th till the 17th of May, 2025. And Jaron, please come along to highlight the topics that you want to present during the mission in Wales. As you have heard, the people are waiting for the institutions of Wales to join different programs. So I think this must be an extra motivator to put even a bigger candle on the Christmas cake. So go ahead, Jaron.
Thanks, Wayne. Hopefully you can hear me, and also you can see my slides already. I think I forgot to put my camera on, but I won't go back out now. So yes, yeah, absolutely. I think, and I'll rapidly get into this now. But I'll just start with very quickly with a couple of slides to just build on that point that we're very much reaching out to everyone to continue partnerships, and that's what Agile Cymru is about. Very much about how we work in Wales to identify strengths, coordinate things, and use the small amounts of funding we got to support people to build those relationships with the opportunities, hopefully, of accessing things like Interreg in the future, but we're already supporting access to Horizon Europe as well. We do that strategically. We've got something called the Irish-Sea framework, where we're doing this on a smaller macro area, which is very aligned with what we've been talking about. And there's a number of things that are happening in that space, including a Peace Plus project. So that's certainly worth making note of. You can see the sustainable blue economy theme there. And we do actually have, as I say, seed funding to build the links. It names a number of regions here, but actually this is really open to any European region. So this allows us to support Welsh organisations to work with you. And there's also an international element as well, so that would include Quebec. But the main thing is that if you've got that sort of Welsh connection, that Welsh partner, they can help support you to work with them. So yeah, certainly get in touch and get your Welsh partner to get in touch with us on that. Yeah, you've already stolen my thunder. So 12th to 16th of May, similar model to Quebec in terms of a 5-day mission. We're going to focus around North Wales, so there won't be 1,200 kilometres. We're not even going to go to South Wales on this one. I think we'll bring South Wales to you, and that's because there's a good concentration of relevant venues and stakeholders in North Wales. And you can see there the Prince Madog Research Ship and the Marine Centre in as part of Bangor University, which is very likely to feature. Again, as has been touched on, really just to take this cooperation to another level. We've done the introductions in the Quebec mission, so now getting into more detail in the conversations about actual cooperation and how we do it. So we're planning half-day sessions to build those consortiums around key themes. We want to do the visits, but we want to make those, you know, walk and talk to ensure that we continue those conversations and allow those conversations to cross-pollinate. We'll do things like you know, potentially some set pieces with ministers, etc. But we'll very much focused on the delegation, but also the other stakeholders that we hope to bring to these thematic conversations, networking, and having detailed conversations about how they address the barriers to working together and come up with actual ideas. Three main themes: marine renewable energy, strong focus around that, green corridors, a key continuity with the Quebec mission, and circular economy, bringing in those tech elements, which I know is featured in a number of the conversations as part of this project. We'll also bring in the cross-cutting themes around aquaculture and innovation, skills, and values around sustainable development goals. So we'll bring those in where they make sense. We hope to bring an element of what we've talked about today in terms of practical support that is available. So a number of the topics today were unfortunately not relevant to Wales. Some were. So we'll be try and set the context of the cooperation mechanism, funding opportunities that are available in the short term, but also then look into that medium term as well. So we'll try and do that in a sort of context around the themes that we're talking about. And as I say, we're going to bring organisations, and that includes building on our links with Ireland as well, to those theme days. Not guaranteed, but these are the initial thoughts on some of the visits. So I mentioned the Marine Centre on the picture. We have the Morlice project, which is a really good example of tidal investment. We have the two ports in North Wales, and we have a very active innovation centre as well. And of course, we'll build in some castles if we can. Structure, I think the real focus would be on those 3 business days in the middle, with those half-day sessions around the themes, around the three main themes, and also then visits that support that or add value to that, rather than the visits or the travel dominating too much. We'll do obviously the introduction, scene setting on the Monday, and on the Friday I think we'll have a closing session. But the idea is that ideally that we will have some presentations from ideas that are starting to emerge, people who are willing to stand up and sort of say, actually, we think we could do something here if you guys can support us. So that'll be the sort of success, I think, if we can, from the mission. And that's it. So it's slightly blurry, this, but that again is a slightly broader version of the Marine Centre, but also then the channel that runs between the island of Anglesey, where the Holyhead port fits, and the mainland. So again, you'll get to see sites like that across Wales, as well as have a lot of detailed conversations. So I hope that's of interest. Thank you.
Sharon, that is an excellent invitation and an excellent presentation. What we are going to have, what we can discover within the region of Wales, and I think this is, with your permission, we're going to share this presentation to all the participants, so that they can have, while they're unwrapping the presentation of Gancho about
it's the perfect
Erasmus.
Christmas present, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think I see that you have a green background already, so you're absolutely in the mood. Voluntary organized out of Marine Wales. That's something to discuss off record. I would like to ask Elise then to, I mean, Geraint has lit the candle. So Elise, it's up to you to sing the last Christmas carol.
All right, I won't sing, otherwise you're going to be freaking out, but I'm happy to close this meeting. Thank you for staying until the end. For us in Europe, it's the end of the day, so thank you very much for those who has really kept connecting. Thank you very much, Geraint, for the very clear next steps that you're proposing, and we are very happy to come to Wales again and to bring along, the different profile of stakeholders this pilot project is targeting. So universities, clusters, SMEs and startup, and also public authorities. We've seen that we have many projects out there, different programs that can be used at different levels for third countries. I think it gave us, this webinar, a very clear picture of what we have as a panorama of options. Now it's on us to, dig a little bit into what kind of collaboration and win-win collaboration we need to organize within the Transatlantic Pilot Project, and share common areas and common win-win solutions for the development of our coastal communities. I thank you very much, each one of you as speakers, for your inspirational presentation. It was very clear, and we will surely collect those presentation to share with the participants and also in our respective networks, because we also have with us Forum Oceano as a maritime cluster, RQM as a clustering, also research and innovation institutions. Ourselves, we represent regions. So I think we can also multiply the messages across our different networks. So thank you so much for participating, and we keep in touch for the next steps. If you want to be involved and continue the contact with us, bear in mind that you have Wim's contact. Wim is your person for this pilot project, but we do also have a website and a matchmaking platform that you can use to get regular updates on our project. So thank you very much to all of you, and I wish you a happy Christmas and happy holidays to all. Have a good rest.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much,
much.
everyone.
Thank
Happy
you,
holidays.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Happy holiday
Bye.
season.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays, everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Bye.
Bonne fête à tous.
Merci.